Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life, and I have a great article for you guys here from aboutatnt.com. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you guys can check it out. So a few days ago, AT&T announced it's, calling it the first ever guarantee out of any carrier that they're guaranteeing you a service. And if that service goes down, right, 20 minutes for fiber and 60 minutes for the wireless network, you will get some sort of credit for that day, for a full day of service. Some people said it's $5, whatever that amount is. AT&T is willing to dish it out. Now, what I wanted to tie that into is AT&T's churn. A lot of people have still been asking me over the last several weeks and months, how does AT&T do it? Right? If we look at the rankings from the 5G testing, AT&T ranks mostly in the third place, right? There's only 3 mobile network operators. AT&T mostly ranks third. If we look at the speed, AT&T has been in third place, although recently we saw OpenSignal has them surpassing Verizon, but for the most part, AT&T has been in that third place. So how do they manage to have the lowest churn? Now, I want to also speak on that a bit more, right? Elaborate. What does it mean when I say AT&T has the lowest churn? So that doesn't mean that AT&T is not losing any customers. They are still losing customers. They're just losing less customers than its competitors. Right? So that means something. It means something. I don't know what the data shows. The carriers, they have to know that data. But usually T-Mobile comes in second, and then usually Verizon has the highest churn. And that means that most customers leave Verizon. Second, most customers leave T-Mobile. And then in third, which is the lowest, is AT&T. They have the lowest customers that leave AT&T. Now, why is that so significant? Because it's by perception, and this is for the average consumer, it is still a hassle to switch. People don't like doing it. You need new phones. You have to pay tax, and if you got 4 lines, you're paying like, I don't know, $300-400 on just taxes. Never mind the on us part, right? You still have to pay the taxes up front. So it's still a hassle. So when you have Verizon at the churn that they're at and T-Mobile at the churn that they're at, it's really for a reason. Those customers are looking for an alternative. In some cases, it's a cheaper alternative. In some cases, it could be network related. Like I said, I don't know what the data shows. But if we're looking at AT&T, the facts are the facts. They consistently, over the last several quarters, have had the lowest churn. That means the lowest amount of customers leave AT&T. So we look at Verizon, right? Verizon tells us in ultra wideband markets where C-band is widely deployed, they have a lower churn. So what does that say for non-C-band markets or where C-band is not really scaled much? That tells us they have more and more people leaving. So that tells me it's network related. If the network is there, which is what they're telling us in ultra wideband markets, they have lower churn. If the network is there and it's great and it has no issues, people are staying. That's what that means, or less people are leaving. In non-C-band markets, where they don't have it deployed at scale, where they're still relying on DSS and LTE, the churn is higher. That's what that's telling us. So in my view and in my opinion, looking at that, it's network related for Verizon. AT&T went a different route, right? They didn't all of a sudden go crazy on C-band at the beginning. They didn't say, oh, we're going to spend this amount more CapEx to dedicate towards C-band, right? AT&T gradually, since like 2017, started modernizing all of their sites across the network because they had to. They had FirstNet. So in a lot of areas where Verizon has band 13 only sites still today, AT&T went and modernized. So, and they have more sub 6 gigahertz spectrum. So, or I guess sub 3, if you want to call it sub 3, right? So they went and did that, and they have, they have a faster network in those regions where Verizon is still band 13 only or band 1366, and they haven't deployed C-band. That's what that's telling me, right? T-Mobile is a mix of both. T-Mobile, their legacy customers were ticked off with the price increase, and then the network is still not there at scale, right? We're talking like mass scale. They're getting better, right? The network is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but they still have I would say about 24 to 36 months left of building to do, probably post even US Cellular to really get there. So AT&T is really in a sweet spot. They're in the sweet spot, right? They were able to get reimbursement for FirstNet. They were able to scale the network natively to the size that it is today. And in return, it also allowed AT&T to touch all of their old sites. They had old rotten sites out there. A good portion of their network before FirstNet was still HSPA. I remember looking at the data on that. But now it's all been converted, it's all been upgraded. They're adding more sites, and it just works. It works for the consumer. And that's what the churn is telling us. Like I said, if you look at the perception, people consider it a hassle to switch. Like I said, if you have 4, 5, 6 lines, you got to pay tax on each device that you're getting new with the new carrier. Many consider that a hassle. Thousands and thousands and thousands still do it, but it's a hassle. So the fact that Verizon has the highest churn, that lets me know those customers are doing it for a reason, because it's a hassle. So they're leaving to maybe T-Mobile and then AT&T, right? They're leaving to those two carriers. But what's not happening, or what is happening, but just less, it's less customers that AT&T is giving to Verizon and T-Mobile. So whatever strategy, if maybe this guarantee will work and lower churn even more, but the strategy that AT&T has implemented internally, it works. Whether that's the pricing, right, kind of being in that sweet spot, not too expensive, not too cheap. Maybe it's the corporate discounts. It's possible. Or maybe it's just them modernizing their entire network with FirstNet funding. It's all of that is a possibility that I wanted to talk about in this video. Do we have the data, the exact data? No, we don't have that. The carriers might know. Verizon knows. They told us in C-band markets where it's deployed at scale, they have less churn. They told us that very clearly. So that tells us in non-C-band regions, the churn is high. And that's leading to an overall higher churn. So as they get more and more and more C-band, their churn should lower. And that's probably maybe even a bigger problem for T-Mobile to be right there with Verizon, because they have 2.5 deployed with over 300 million pops. So is it the network? Is it customers ticked off of the price increase? Who knows? But what we do know, and it's on black and white, AT&T has the lowest churn in the industry. And a lot of people are questioning why and how. They're behind on mid-band 5G, right? The C-band, the DoD. They're behind. But yet, they have the lowest churn. So share some of your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from you guys. Like, share, subscribe if you're new. Follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Live. See y'all in the next one. Peace.